we've now finished the turning on the Christmas bauble, and it's made of 3 separate pieces of wood. So the bottom bit, if I can get it to come off, is English oak, and that's the bottom finial. The middle bit is a piece of English ash, very English, just down about 100 metres away from where we're standing is where this bit came from, and that's slightly rotten and spalted, so it's got a little bit of epoxy inlay in it as well. And then the top piece, just to add a bit of colour contrast, which also should come off, he said, there we go, is, turn that tightly, there we go, that's a piece of African paddock. So it gives it a nice contrasting colour. Needs probably one more coat of polish, but quite pleased with that. That'll look nice on the Christmas tree, or on a somewhere dangling somewhere. It might be a bit heavy for a Christmas tree, but there is a little hole. You probably can't see it on the camera, but at the top there'll be a room for a loop of gold wire. So let's just do a little bit of polishing and you can see how that works. So this has already had several coats, it's just going to have one more coat now, and this is one of my range of chucks that I've got. So this is from Record Power, I think it's their SC2 chuck. Now it's not going to be very straight in the chuck, but it doesn't matter, because I'm not going to be turning, I'm just doing a little bit of polishing. So get a little bit of good old faithful kitchen towel and my friction polish. I don't know why I don't just use the new tin, I just like the old one. Makes me look as if I know what I'm doing when it's all manky and covered in stuff. Everyone will think I'm an expert when of course I'm not. So again, with friction polish, the trick is to get a bit of heat into it, Helen, as you can see. Try and do that if you can.
And is that warm to your touch?
It can be, yeah. Yes, you can feel a little bit of warmth coming through. And that's what you want. You see the shine coming through now a little bit. Feels a bit of a sheen. There we go. But be careful I don't strain it, because I want to snap the work, obviously. I'll catch my knuckles. You notice that you always polish with a piece of paper cloth rather than cotton, so if it gets caught it tears the paper and doesn't wrap you and the cloth around the lathe. You do see people occasionally doing it, and I think you can buy special cloth that tears easily. It always has a special price to it as well, so it's kind of like, I'm not paying that, I'll just use paper. Oh, look at that, Age, that's looking really good. It's really nice and shiny, you know? How about that? So let's rest that there for a minute. Should we do the paddock again?
So where did you get the design for this, Tim?
Out of my head. That's actually I just committed a cardinal sin then, which is to leave your chuck key in the chuck. Many years ago, before I went to college and university, I worked in an engineering factory in the West Midlands, and if I'd have done that at work, I'd have been sacked. Just not even with the machine on, if you just left your chuck, because if you do forget and you turn it on, it flies up in the air. It either hits you in the face or it flies up and hits some other person in the factory, you know. So see, that's being distracted by my cameraman, you see. You knew it was going to be your fault somehow, didn't you? So this is African paddock, paddock, however you should pronounce it. I don't use a lot of tropical hardwoods because I'm always slightly worried about where they come from and that they're sustainably sourced. But this is from a company called Dalman, who bought Styles and Bates, and most English turners have been turning for a while would know Styles and Bates. Downman bought them, and they have a really good approach to sustainable sourcing, and they also fair trade approach in terms of putting money back into the pockets of the countries, and not just taking the product, they actually process it overseas as well, so it adds more value to the local economy. So I really like that as an approach. They'll do that again, so I don't do it a second time. And there we go, look at this, a shiny piece of paddock. There you go, how about that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you see you've got the clever bit now, which is, if I can find it, you're sort of asking how will you actually turn the polished disc, because you haven't got anything to grip it with. So I made a little wooden handmade chuck that goes into there. Voila! And then that goes into the chuck, that gets held by the headstock, and you can polish, as you were about to see. So what you have to do first is to take this chuck off. So this is the little SC2, and then this is my good old bigger chuck. Also from Record Power, which is an SC4. That little wooden chuck goes in there like that, you see? And then just bring that gently up so it can't fly out, Helen, yeah? What should then happen? Look at that. A bit noisy and rattly and banging, but it works. It's not uber tightly gripped, right? But it will be gripped tightly enough. To give it a polish, right? How about that? So, and then you can see that should be enough colour, I think. You see, without this, you wouldn't be able to grip it, yeah? The other thing I could do potentially is put one of these into a taper here, and then you could put it between the two of those. But I quite like making my own, so ta-da! Isn't that lovely wood, Helen, there? And the little contrast of blue. Right, so what then happens is this all gets put back together. Gosh, that's getting tight, that is. There we go. And there we go. Voila.
Nice.
Not bad for an amateur.